Euphoria is on its third season, and it has a lot of popular actors like Zendaya, Sydney Sweeney, Jacob Elordi, and Hunter Schafer. Now, this show, no matter what you think about it, it's doing some pretty good reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. Obviously, 78% as the tomato meter, and then 74% on the consensus of people who watch the show give it a pretty high rating. But when it comes to what's going on behind the scenes, it's kind of crazy because during the season 3 red carpet, we had Zendaya right here in her lovely dress giving her interviews, but for some reason she gave no interviews with like the other rest of the cast. No Sydney Sweeney, no Hunter Schafer. She did no interviews with any other person, and she pretty much just left. And this is kind of weird for Zendaya. And the reason why it's weird is because she won an Emmy for this show, and she won an Emmy during the COVID times. That's why this photo is kind of blurry, because it was weird times. They're doing this like on a Zoom call. So she won her first Emmy for Euphoria for season 1, and then she won a second Emmy for Euphoria season 2. I personally wasn't a big fan of Euphoria season 2, but she won an Emmy for this. So for an actor who has won 2 Emmys for the show, you feel like she'd be kind of excited to give some interviews about this show. But apparently from this interview, Euphoria was not going too well behind the scenes, because Zendaya herself, the biggest actor, right, the biggest star of this show, says it was a whirlwind because she shot this whole entire season in only 4 months instead of 8 months, her usual time it took to record season 1 and season 2 of Euphoria. And this is pretty weird. If you don't know anything about, shooting movie productions and shooting TV shows, shooting it in only 4 months is kind of crazy. Like, it's crazy for any production to do that. And the way Zendaya was responding to all these interviews, not doing red carpet interviews with her other co-stars, and saying that it was a whirlwind behind the scenes, it started getting a lot of fans to ask the question, are these actors embarrassed to be in the show? Because a lot of these actors, not just Zendaya, don't want to be associated with the show. And a lot of people believe it has to do with the director, Sam Livingston. Now, I personally don't know much about this guy. I only know stuff about his work. But apparently people say, they don't like his directing style. They feel like, it sexualizes a little bit too much of the characters. But, that's not me for to say, right? I've only seen Euphoria from what I've seen of his work. And the only other work I know from him is The Idol, which was a pretty weird show that was coming out with The Weeknd and Johnny Depp's daughter, right? But if you know anything about the show, when this show was coming out, a lot of people didn't like it. So much so that if you look at the reviews, it's pretty bad. 18% and 41% from fans. This is pretty horrible. If you know anything about movies and TV shows, this is really bad. A lot of people say, it sexualizes its characters. It's like a fantasy for the director to make this stuff. The Weeknd was pretty weird on it. You can watch a bunch of other YouTubers talk about why it's so weird. But just for this video, you just know that maybe it's something with the director where a lot of people don't like working with him. I can't say, but these are at least the reports. And for Zendaya, she says that this season of Euphoria will probably be the last season. Now, the director has said otherwise. There's no confirmation that this is the last season. But for Zendaya, it seems like after the season, she's kind of, she's done with the show. And it brings up to the point where this is not just only a Zendaya issue, this is a whole cast issue, since a lot of this cast doesn't seem to want to promote this movie. And if you know anything about movies and TV show promotion, your stars are the easiest marketing tool of all time, because these stars can promote it to their fans, and their fans watch the show or the movie. So for your stars not to be promoting this movie, so far it's kind of been a marketing disaster. And let me show you proof that these stars are marketing it. First off, you can just look at Jacob Elordi's face and see this guy does not want to talk about Euphoria. The question on the Today Show, really popular TV show, let's talk about your character in Euphoria coming back. You can just look at his face and see it all. He does not want to talk about this. This was on his press tour for Frankenstein, a very great movie, nominated for a bunch of Oscars. So, in his opinion, I have better stuff to talk about. And if you look at these comments on Instagram, you can see that a lot of people see the same thing. Free this man from Euphoria. He does not look very happy to be doing this interview. He really doesn't want to talk about Euphoria. So a lot of people just say he just doesn't want to talk about this show. Maybe some stuff happened in production, but I just think, these actors have grown up from the show. These are characters in high school and now they're on to bigger, better things. He did this interview for Frankenstein, and this Frankenstein movie has an 85% and 94%. A lot of people love this movie. So in his opinion, he has better stuff to do than Euphoria season 3. I'm pretty sure his contract is kind of forced them to do it. At least that's what the reports are saying. And for further proof that these actors don't really seem to, want to promote this movie, you can just look at their Instagram, right? A very big and easy way to promote new episodes or the new show. You can see Zendaya only has one post for Euphoria, right? Just the official launch trailer. Every actor is probably obligated to do this. She also did this with Spider-Man. But if you look at how much she's promoted her other projects, she clearly has some favorites, right? The Drama was a movie about, a love couple. If you've seen that movie, it gets kind of crazy, and I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it, but she has posted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 posts on her Instagram about this movie, right? She's already posted one about Spider-Man, and that Spider-Man movie hasn't even come out yet. The Drama, she posted a total of 5. And you know what Euphoria gets? The one she won 2 Emmys for? It gets one post, right? The show is about to end and only one post. She doesn't notify anyone on her story that this show is getting new episodes or go watch the new episodes. It's kind of weird. But obviously, Zendaya has a lot of movies going on. She has Euphoria, she has The Drama, she has The Odyssey, she has Spider-Man Brand New Day, she has Dune Part 3. Maybe, she just has better stuff to do. So let's take a look at Zendaya's co-stars to see if they're also, promoting this show. Next star, Hunter Schafer, right? A very big star in Euphoria. Same thing, only posted, the official trailer, and, she does a lot of fashion, no story posts about, new episodes. It's just the initial trailer. Maybe I missed one of the story posts, but from what I know, I follow her. I don't really see any of the notifications of, new Euphoria episode out. It feels like it's kind of gone under the radar for, posting it on their social media, but, it's still a very popular show. Obviously, fans are going to watch it, but, these actors don't seem to be promoting it. It's succeeding even without them. But maybe you're thinking, Zendaya and Hunter Schafer, they're very big actors. Maybe they just don't post stuff. Maybe this is not the norm for actors to post stuff on their social media about new shows and new episodes going on. Well, let's take a look at another actor who has a very big show also going on that ended recently, Anthony Starr, right? A big actor, played Homelander in the show. You can look at his Instagram account and you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm gonna run out of times to count. Like, there's everything's about Homelander from everything in the show since it started, from all of the background stuff, the makeup effects, all this stuff about Homelander, right? He has like probably 1,000 stories. I don't want to go through it right now, but he has so many stories going over, all the new episodes. So when you compare Anthony Starr, the biggest actor in his own show, The Boys, one of the biggest shows in my personal lifetime, compared to, Zendaya's Instagram, it's night and day. Obviously, Zendaya is a bigger actor, but even if you look at Hunter Schafer, it's no difference who's promoting their show more. You can just tell that some actors like their show more. And kind of the only other actor kind of promoting their show is surprisingly Sydney Sweeney, right? Currently, she doesn't have the stories up, but she at least posts, all right, a new episode of Euphoria is coming out. I know that's like a low bar to pass, but at least she's doing something. I know a lot of people are not big a fan of Sydney Sweeney, but she's a good actor, and at least she's promoting it. And this cast in general kind of just reminds me of the Twilight cast, right? They've kind of outgrown their show, right? The Zendaya, Hunter Schafer, Sydney Sweeney, they just kind of feel like the Euphoria cast, right? They've done their legacy show, they're on the season 3, and they're just like, I kind of want to move on for this. If you look at Robert Pattinson and Kristen Stewart and Taylor Lautner is a little more open to answering Twilight questions, but these two actors, they feel like they moved on from it. So much so that like Robert Pattinson, like people don't even talk about Twilight most of the time. Maybe he'll get like one question, but that's about it. He's done bigger roles like The Batman. He's done, The Lighthouse, a really great movie. And, overall, this Euphoria cast in general, my final point is that these actors are just grown up. Like they moved on from Euphoria. They have bigger, better things to do. Zendaya's at The Odyssey. Sydney Sweeney's, doing like 1,000 movies in 1 year. And Hunter Schafer, she was in The Hunger Games last time. So, they're on to bigger and better things. So let me know what you guys think of these actors, really not promoting this show. Maybe they just hate it. Maybe they hate the show. Maybe they just want to move on from the show. They're just filling out their contracts. But so far, like, this is kind of a PR nightmare in my opinion. Like, you have some of the biggest actors on your show and they're not promoting it. Let me know why you think that is down in the comments below, and hope to see you guys next time. Later, hater. Peace.